It's a wrap. Now what? It's curtain call, the final take, the closing night party, the end of the project. As actors, we pour our hearts into our work. And when that work wraps up, we're often left with a cocktail of emotions: pride, sadness, uncertainty, excitement, and even fear. What happens when the thing you've devoted your time, energy, and soul to ends? Today on Casting Actors Cast, we're diving into the post-project blues, the thrill of completion, and how you can process the end of a project in a way that fuels your growth, both personally and professionally.
Casting Actors Cast, what a show! With Jeffrey Dreisbach, we're ready to go. From agents to gigs, learn what you lack. Tune in every week, we're bringing you back.
We're going to kick off the show right after this. Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. I'm a casting director with McCorkle Casting in New York. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. I'm really looking forward to this process that we have to put ourselves through when the show is over, because there's all kinds of emotions that take place. And sometimes you can use that situation you find yourself in, the show closing, in a positive way that can actually help propel you to the next right thing. But first, this is that moment of the podcast where I get to say, thanks for tuning in. It's really great that you are here today, and I love doing these podcasts. Please let your friends know. Please let me know if you like the episodes that you've been hearing by posting a like. You could share it, write a review. All of that really means the world to me because, I am really trying hard to make sure that I'm giving you up-to-the-minute information based on my experience, both as an actor and now as a casting director. And I love sharing this information, but I also would love it for you to let me know that you're out there. It does make a difference in terms of me staying motivated to providing this information. Also, by the way, check out the website, castingactorscast, all one word.com. All kinds of information there, not only about the podcast, but there's a place that you can fill out a form. It says dive into the talent pool. Get it? If you do that, that's going to open up some freebies for you. By the way, I don't do anything with your email address. That's all I ask for. I might, on occasion, send out, an episode that I think is really valuable that you might be interested in. But that's kind of rare. Frankly, I don't have the energy or the time to do a lot of, spamming. That's not my thing at all. But anyway, you'll get some freebies if you fill out that form. Also, right there on the landing page, I'm thrilled about my audiobook and my book, Booked It. The Actor's Playbook for Getting Cast is available. I'm thrilled about the audiobook. It took some time to put together, but I put together this audiobook with just as a labor of love. I think you're going to find it really, really valuable. Also, my course is available. It's a 1-hour course. It's very easy right there on the landing page for you to find. I think it's absolutely worth it. It's called Next Level Auditions. It's for those actors who really want to up their game in terms of their auditioning skills. Again, it's a 1-hour course in 6 modules. That's available for you as well. Please do check that out. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about why the ending of a project really does hit hard sometimes. Let's just make it make sense. First of all, acting is emotionally immersive, right? We put a lot of time and energy into it so that endings of that feel very personal. Also, you've built a temporary home. You've built a home with cast and crew, and the creative routine speaks for itself. There's something so forward feeling about that. The adrenaline rush, the excitement, and the new relationships can really be challenging when you know they're coming to a close. We also know that the rhythm of work provides structure. It provides belonging and the validation that you get when you're working with other professionals on a project. And of course, that means that the end can trigger all kinds of identity question. You might say, and I know I did this as an actor, I would often say, now, who am I now that the show is over? What do I have to do now? Sort of dreading what's coming next. There's all kinds of mixed emotions. And here are some that actors commonly face. I know I did. One, there is a grieving period or a mourning period, especially when the project was really fulfilling, something that you really enjoyed, something that really tapped into that core creativity part of you. That's really tough. You allow yourself that grief or that mourning period. It's really okay. And then, like I just said, there's that fear of the unknown. I've often said this, okay, when is my next job going to show up? When will I work again? That is a very difficult hurdle, I think, to overcome sometimes because it's the end of something wonderful going back into the unknown future that actors often face. Then I also think there's loneliness. It's like when you lose a tight-knit crew or tight-knit cast or a cast that worked so well together that you really cared about. That dynamic is something to really feel the loss of because that doesn't happen in every show, I can tell you that. But there are those shows or those very specific experiences that sometimes really bring you so close together. And now that's going to be over. That's tough. Now, you also might be experiencing some exhilaration or a sense of relief. You might feel pride in finishing strong, or really relief that you've overcome a challenge that that role or that performance was asking of you. That's something to be celebrated. Then guess what happens? Then we feel guilty for feeling down. I should be grateful. Why do I feel empty? That's a phrase I've often said myself. Perhaps you've said that as well. Well, I think it's valuable to really discuss why these feelings are normal in the first place. Please know that the human brain craves continuity. And endings, the ending of a show, the ending of a shoot, endings disrupt that sense of continuity. Because connection and purpose, they are core emotional needs. Both of those things are fulfilled by a project. There's something very whole, very healthy about being in a project that does so much for you emotionally. I know that there are many actors who go through a kind of emotional whiplash after intense work ends. They're happy, and then they're lost, and then they're sad, and then they're angry. See, these emotions reflect investment, not weakness. It's not a weakness to have those feelings. It literally is an investment. So, how do we make the most out of a project's conclusion? I've got the answer to that right after this. So welcome back. Talking about the closing of a project, whether it's the closing night of a show or the closing night of a film, we need to talk about how to make the most out of a project's conclusion. I think we can divide that into two separate sections. One, personally, the other, professionally. So personally, I think it's time to reflect. I suggest you journal or talk to somebody about what you've learned, what you've loved, what you overcame. Also, don't forget about rest. You must allow for decompression time. Burnout can show up after the show is closed many times over. I don't know about you, but I always felt like that's when I got the flu. That's when I got the cold, is when the show is over. It's almost like my body needed some kind of forced statement about getting additional rest. Another thing to think about, I guess, is to ritualize closure. You see, acknowledging the ending with some kind of a gesture or activity, for example, a solo toast to yourself. Maybe there's a keepsake from the show that you put into a scrapbook, like the program. Um, you could have a talisman for each show that it could be a stone, it could be a rock, it could be a key, it could be whatever you want it to be. But having some kind of a ritual is really a healthy way to process that period of the show closing. And then also on a personal level, celebrate yourself. Don't wait for others to validate your achievement. Do it yourself. Really sit with that wonderful feeling of accomplishment, of completing the run of a show or the shoot schedule. Now, let's talk about professionally. I think always thank you notes are a really good idea. If you could send a thoughtful message to a director, to the crew, to other cast members, that goes a long way, not just for them. It makes them feel good that you're acknowledging them. That's great. But also for you, knowing that that is part of the process of when a show closes can feel you can get a lot of closure, is what I really want to say. You can really get a sense of shutting the door on that chapter, but you're not shutting it harshly. You're shutting it quietly and gently. Also, professionally speaking, good news. Now it's time to update your resume, your demo reel. I think you should use footage, or if you've got some really good stills from a live stage production, that might be something that you want to post. That might be something that you want to acknowledge on social media. If those things are available, use that footage, use those skills, and obviously have something for your demo reel. It gives you a project to help that transformative experience. I think there's value also in requesting testimonials or get some recommendations while the work is fresh. That's going to help you stay connected. I would caution you about not letting relationships fade. I think there's value in nurturing them. Now, I know that after a show closed, many times I made the mistake of just moving on, not really spending much time with the cast that I had had that experience with. I regret it now. I regret that I didn't stay more connected. Now, there are some actors that I know that absolutely stay totally connected, and they really do nurture those relationships. I don't know, maybe it was my ego. Maybe it was just my method of leaving one project so that I could move toward another. I'm not really sure what the psychology is of that, but like I said, there's a level of regret. One of the things that I didn't think of is, now that I think about it, it's really okay to ask for feedback. If it's appropriate, why don't you just talk to some of your fellow cast members from that production and find out how you were perceived? Was there something that was revealing about you or your personality? And that might help you to move to the next step, which is reframing your ending of that show or that shoot as a launch pad. What do I mean by that? You see, every ending is a space for a new beginning. I think it's valuable to consider that it's a moment to reconnect with your long-term goals. Did that show align with your longer-term goals? If not, now it's time to get realigned. Also, let go of the fear mindset. If you can adopt a what's next, be curious, be excited about future potential opportunities. You've got that much life experience under your belt. Now you can parlay that work experience that you just had into the next best right thing. Please remember that jobs end, but I know that your artistry continues. Creativity is something that, despite your best efforts, is something that's always going to be there. So here are some closing thoughts and my call to action. Please know that endings are emotional, but they can also be empowering. What was the last project you had a hard time letting go of? Let me know. Why don't you share that with me? castingactorscast@gmail.com, or you could fill out the form and write to me there on the website, castingactorscast.com. Drop me a message. As a community, if we could build a space to celebrate completion, not fear it, you're going to be a much better actor for it. Because why? You did the work. You told the story. You earned the applause. Now, carry that into your next adventure. Please give it a shot. I hope you found this helpful. Once again, if you liked what you heard, please let me know. Please leave me a like, a share. Share it with somebody that might be, might benefit from hearing this message. Also, once again, if you could leave a review, iTunes especially, although any place that could review the show means so much to me. And I look forward to the next really cool episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. Have a great one. Thanks.
It's been great having you in our talent pool today. Your support means the world to us, so please consider sharing, liking, and reviewing this episode wherever you jump in. I'm Megan Grace Martinez. Thanks.
From